Update. My 30 female husband, 31 male of 7 years is really angry that I refused to quit my job to become a stay-at-home wife. Original post. I love my husband and he is an amazing man, but we have flaws like everyone else. We both aged out of foster care and met at a youth fulfillment program, basically a work camp that helps kids with no families learn the fundamentals of living, finances, certificates as needed. We were both 18 and stayed in contact after the program ended. He made it clear he liked me, but I was truly petrified of men at that point in my life due to past experiences, and rejected him a bit harshly. I reached out to apologize and we became friends. Then a year or two later, I saw he posted on Snapchat that he was in my area. I asked if he would want to go on a date so I could practice being comfortable around guys, and he agreed. He never made a move, never touched me, never made weird eye contact. If I said no, he didn't ask a second time, not even a suggestion. We went on these platonic dates for months with nothing happening. And then one day I asked for a hug and then asked for a kiss, and he asked me to be his girlfriend. We got married a year after, and our 7-year anniversary is around the corner. We agreed we would not even think about having kids until we were older, since both of us were the product of young parents. We've really just only focused on getting by on using as little money as possible and saving up every dime to buy a house. Thankfully, we got our house a few months ago, and we were both able to quit our second jobs, and for the first time only work regular 9-to-5s. Yay! I've discovered I really like gardening and baking, and I love having a real home. We have been discussing adding to our family by having a baby, and I feel very ready to be a mom. Scared still, yes, but ready. But my husband brought up how sad I would be if I had to quit, since I've worked so hard. I told him I had zero plans to quit, I would only take maternity leave. Plus, my company allows maternal and paternal remote options for 1 year after birth, so I can just work from home if needed. I know it's a lot to do with a newborn, but giving up the security of my paycheck is simply not an option. He told me this was what he worked for, to make our own perfect family opposite from what ours were like, and I was blindsiding him by changing my plans. I told him no plan has changed. I can have a career and be a mom. Plenty of women do it. He doesn't have to quit his job to be a dad, so why should I? He said it wouldn't work for a baby's needs, and I told him, okay, since I make more money than you do, why don't you quit and I go back to work remotely after healing from birth? That way, we have both hands on deck, and we don't have a severe loss of income, as I make $89,000 a year, while he makes $52,000 a year. He mentioned that if I trusted him fully, this shouldn't be a problem. I told him I trust him, but I don't trust our current economy. But I left out that I really do genuinely think quitting my job with no savings, wiped out by getting the house, and relying on a man is absolutely stupid. He had plans made previously with his parents and had to leave, so he said we would pick the conversation back up when he gets home. But he's very, very upset. Madder than I have ever seen him, and I don't understand why he just assumed I would quit. Not only do I not understand it, but it makes me trust him a lot less than I did yesterday. I have a bad habit of running for the hills when problems come up, and not gonna lie, this is making me really nervous. Thank you for reading all of this if you have. I'm open ears to what could be going through his mind or why is he thinking like this. Really just doesn't seem logical to me. He's been watching all of these videos of stay-at-home wives/girlfriends, and I feel like this is influencing him a lot. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Please hold off on having kids until this is resolved. $52,000 isn't a lot for a family of 3, especially with a mortgage and baby expenses. He isn't seeing the whole picture here. My girlfriend makes $55,000 a year, and I've been paying her electric bill, so she has some extra spending money. $52,000 a year ain't enough for one person these days, let alone a family. Everything has gotten particularly jacked in the last year or two. Just be honest and explain that it's not sensible for a woman to quit her job and lose her career prospects and possibility of progression and be fully financially reliant on a partner. It's just not. It's amazing that he is boiling this all down to trust me when he's making such bad decisions. I've met people like this, people who want unreasonable trust and confidence and constantly equate personal decisions with your trust in them. First of all, trust absolutely no one. That's not how life works. Trust only in yourself. Second, this has nothing to do with trust in the husband anyway. What if he gets laid off? What if he gets sick or has an accident? If a person really loves you, they won't ask you to throw away your career and be dependent on them. They would worry that this would leave you vulnerable. My dad was young and healthy when he was permanently and severely disabled in an accident. Had my mom not been employed at the time, our family would have been screwed. Her insurance allowed my dad to get decent care, and her income kept us from having to lose our home. Family would have stepped up, but still. I know that's a rare and random and upsetting thing to think about, but that has stuck with me my entire life. And my dad had wanted my mom to be a stay-at-home mom, and she told him absolutely not, which ended up being our saving grace. Protect your birth control and put a pin in babies for now, metaphorically speaking, and keep discussing this. Talk to a therapist if necessary to get to the bottom of this. Now for the update 4 months later. It's been a few days since he came home and told me he met a girl at work and she's a better woman than me, and that she has a son already and will be a stay-at-home wife or girlfriend or whatever. He gets his happy ending, I guess. He texted me right before I got off work and asked me to pick up food from one of our usual date night spots. I got home and noticed his car had boxes in it and a woman I didn't know. I tried opening the door, but it was locked, and she just looked at me. What little was left of our savings, he took, and both of our cats. I didn't see this coming at all. I haven't told any of my friends yet. His adoptive parents have been dropping me off food that I can't even force myself to eat. I haven't cried yet. I'm kind of still in shock. I wish I had a family to run to, but for now, the internet has to do. I haven't answered any of his calls or texts. He keeps trying to check in, ask if I'm okay. How the heck would I be okay? I never thought he would cheat. I asked him to promise if there was ever someone new, he would just tell me as soon as he knew. But they've been together at least 6 months. So while he was calling me selfish for not wanting to put in my 2 weeks and be a stay-at-home wife, he was dating her the entire time, planning a future with her the entire time. I feel stupid. I should have taken everyone's advice more literally. When I asked him to go to therapy, he wouldn't. His parents think he's having some type of mental break. I should have stayed afraid of him and avoided him. I should have chosen a better outcome for myself. I just feel like the same girl that no one wants to love anymore all over again. I know what he did isn't my fault. I know I could never stop him. And really, do I want a man who doesn't want me? Never. But that just doesn't stop it from hurting. You need a lawyer. He can't just take your savings or your cats, as that would most likely be considered communal property. There are rules that protect people in the case of divorce. And what's this? Quit your job and stay at home nonsense. If he was already dating and planning this, is he literally trying to make you homeless? That's a case with a divorce lawyer on its own. My now ex did something similar. He was trying to get me to sell my house and buy one nearby that I couldn't afford on my own, and wanted me to quit my job and stay at home. Note, he couldn't afford a house alone either. He was also cheating on me and preparing to move out. He was trying to make me homeless and got really mad when I didn't fall for it. What? What was the game plan? To get you to cover the new house with a chunk of whatever you had in your name, then break up and get a side piece to pay for it with him? If she sells the house and splits the unaffordable one with him, she's financially hamstrung, and he has more negotiating power since they have to dispose of the shared property together should they split. If she quits her job and stays at home, that means she has no money coming in, and he has more leverage to control her. If she stays at home, she is more easily isolated. Bottom line, he has control and the only income stream, and she lacks easy access to money of her own, a good lawyer, and social connections who might help her get away from him or who will point out how bad the situation is for her. I have a relative that went through this BS with her husband. This is textbook. It took my grandmother years to help get her free from him. He wanted you to be reliant on him and didn't want you to be smart enough to find out his affair. See if you can dig more info about the affair partner. Go nuclear on them both. You are still young. You can find a new love. Once I found out she was 20, I stopped caring. Their karma will come one day on its own. I doubt I would be able to stop myself from having to do a hard time in prison if I ever see them again. I remember your original post and I'm so sorry. I know it doesn't feel like it now, but I think you dodged a bullet here, in terms of not being tied with him with a child. Contact a lawyer ASAP and show documentation of him emptying your joint account. It was a joint account, right? And find out what your options are as far as splitting up assets. Hope mistress likes ramen if she's expecting $52,000 a year to support her and her kid. Couple of geniuses over there. Let's be real, she grabbed onto him with her kid, and he'll leave her just as fast as he left Opie when he realizes he doesn't actually want what he thinks he wants. Mostly because he'll realize it's not what he thinks, or it's way too hard for him to do. His adoptive mom called me and is already coordinating for dropping the cats back off to me. He didn't know his new girlfriend is allergic. At least I get a little laugh already, lol. Jesus, I already knew this wasn't going to work out for him, based off the other info. But doesn't even know she's allergic to the pets he grabbed to take to her house? Also, she's 20. Who wants to bet she lives with roommates or her parents? Apparently, she was cheating too. She was still with the father of her child. I've thought about reaching out to him, offer condolences. His ex hasn't let him see his son all week, and she moved out while he was at work, so he was completely blindsided too. Second update. Really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of the people who reached out to me with well wishes. Especially other spouses who experienced similar. It helped so much more than you could ever know. There's been a few things that have happened, and honestly I'm exhausted in every way possible. So the input from folks has really been useful in organizing my thoughts and keeping an open mind. I couldn't help it, but for days I compared us and wondered what the heck he could have been thinking. Until I realized she's a carbon copy of his biological mother, or at least the stories I heard about her, since she died when he was 5. I hate that I feel bad for him still, even after what is done, but we offered him support for his thoughts. We urged him to go to therapy. I even offered to pay for it myself, and he was too prideful. I lost both of my parents too, at an older age, with even more core memories with them, so it wasn't a boat he was in alone. But he chose to act like it was, and wallow in self-pity. He called me on our 7-year wedding anniversary, minutes after midnight, whispering apologies and saying he feels so guilty. I asked for what, and he just said, well, you know, what we're going through. I told him, no, it's what you're doing. We are going through nothing. I was abandoned by my husband, exposed to God knows what, while you were sleeping with her and coming back home to me. We were still doing it like every single day, so I made sure he knew just how disgusting I thought he was. Then he got mad and told me he only started cheating because I couldn't follow his lead? Sir, look where you led yourself. Our entire marriage I've pushed him career-wise. Heck, the job he has right now, I applied on his behalf. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure he doesn't, or didn't even know what my full job title is. I pushed him to reach out to the adoptive parents when he started getting family obsessed, but neither of us were ready for a kid. He went on about how I broke my promise first, when I decided I didn't want to be a real mom by not quitting. That I was turning his adoptive parents against him because they are refusing to meet his new girlfriend. He blamed me again, and then had the nerve to say that this could all be put on pause if I can learn how to make decisions that benefit a family and not myself. I asked point blank if he was insinuating that we could get back together if I quit my job, and he told me, yes, I will always love you, but you make things more difficult than needed. I hung up and blocked him on everything. Spent the rest of the night hugging wine in the bathtub and wondering what the heck kind of person I had been sharing my heart with. The next day, he went public with their relationship, posting a photo to Instagram, and most of our mutual friends reached out, with my closest friends commenting less than kind things on a photo. As it turns out, he and his new girlfriend have been together for 7, almost 8 months. She is 20, her son is around 2. I reached out to her ex, the father of her son, who she had left to be with my ex-husband. She moved out in the middle of the day and took their kid, so he was just as blindsided, if not more, than I was. We met up and went for a walk, stopped by a bar, literally cried, laughed, hugged each other, sang songs way too loudly, and sobbed in public like a lunatic. But it helped so much. We also made sure to exchange evidence for any court battles. I'm a little iffy towards him for now, considering that they had quite the age gap. She was 17 when they met, and he was 26. He said she lied about her age, and they met at a college party, and then next thing he knew, she was pregnant. He gave her money to terminate, but she came back with baby clothes instead. So he tried to do the right thing and moved her in with him. Also, she's not actually allergic to cats. She just hates them. She also was very aware he was married and has been to the house multiple times. He admitted he had cheated on her before their son had been born, while she was pregnant, but that she didn't tell him she knew until after she had moved out with her son. He said he was still texting her every day, not just about their son, but also about possibly working things out. He wants her back, but she seems to be head over heels for my husband just like I was. I told him good luck, but yeah, not the direction I'm going in at all. This time, he made his bed and he will lay in it for good. Our chances of reconciliation are 0. I've never accepted someone back into my life after a betrayal, and it won't start now. At first, I wanted to make sure the divorce was going to be short and as simple as possible, even if it meant giving up some things. But after that conversation, I have decided I'm fighting tooth and nail for everything I can possibly get. I live in a no-fault divorce state, but my state does have special laws for adultery, meaning you can still sue for it here, and the divorce attorney I've consulted said it looks pretty good that I won't have to pay him alimony. He also told me to look into every single banking transaction in my accounts, as he did not think they got an apartment on his income without some extra cushion, aka my money. And he was right. Last year, my ex-husband told me he got really into stock trading and if he could invest some of my money as well. Guess who was never doing any stock trading? And the screenshots he showed me were all fake / pulled from somewhere else, and he had been sending that money to his girlfriend or saving it for their new place. I've been pretty enraged since finding that out. He asked his adoptive parents to ask me to allow him visitation rights to see the cats after he had to give them back once he realized his new girlfriend is allergic to them. I relayed that he needs to first return my money and then take it up with a judge. I didn't think visitation was a real thing for pets, but according to my lawyer, it very much is. I officially filed for divorce yesterday, and he emailed me quite a colorful email about how selfish and bitter I am for not putting my pride aside and being so fast to file for divorce, and refusing to let him stop by the house to see the cats, that now he's accusing me of cheating. I read somewhere that you never really know someone until you're divorcing them, and I can truly confirm that is true. I felt like you guys deserved some sort of update considering how much support I was given. I can't share more details for now, but really thank you all again. I'm so proud of you for not taking him back. I hope you get everything you want in a divorce, and then block him on everything. Put cameras up at your place, because once the honeymoon part is over with her, I'm sure he will try coming back to you. I'm sure he was already trying to set the grounds for that by blaming you for everything he is doing. I hope you're very happy without him. Cameras are a great idea. I feel like him trying to come back to the house to see the cats is absolutely not about cats, but something else in that house he wants. I read your original post. You sound like you're doing okay. I'm glad. Honestly, and I'm just some internet stranger, but it doesn't sound like he has a clue what he's doing. He leaves you for the new chick, but he's angry at you for filing for divorce? He calls you on your 7-year anniversary. He wants to see your cats. Honestly, it sounds like he's having some sort of crisis, and this girl is not going to fix it. It sounds like he knows he's better off with you, but you won't fall into line and make him feel like a big man. So he left you for someone that does, but this is temporary. My prediction, I give his new relationship 5 years max. He'll realize he's messed up pretty soon and want to come crawling back to you at some point. This girl is just a band-aid on his bullet wound. You sound like you have your life together. Be sad for a while, grieve the loss of this person that didn't really exist, and then find someone amazing. I already see a nightmare coming for these both mistress and husband pretty soon. 20-year age is too early to make life-changing decision, and being homewrecker. She has no clue what this man, who is 11 years older than her, will bring into her life. And this man is 100% kinda influenced by some red pill stuff, like having a young submissive stay-at-home wife. So, like he said, he can lead his family. What he doesn't realize is now he has expense of 3 people with $50,000 salary including child, which is much more. On the other hand, will pay for his divorce. He doesn't realize that while her wife was making $80,000, she was standing next to him like a pillar to have a good life. This man is on path of self-destruction. Can't wait for him to realize that. Now I really wish he had saved that anniversary conversation and sent it to the affair partner. He wanted to dump her only if you learned your place. Sigh, that dude is going to lead them to bankruptcy, and they deserve it.